Hello and welcome to EmpowHer, the program that spotlights women who are breaking barriers and driving progress. I am your host, Sharna J, and today on EmpowHer, we are spotlighting a guest who is a mother, poet, grassroots politician, and entrepreneur whose work spans leadership, advocacy, and innovation. From her early career in the UK to serving as a councilor in Abuja and as a technical assistant to the vice president, she has continued to champion good governance, women's empowerment, and youth inclusion through her initiative like the Nigerian We Are project and She Queen fashion line. She is inspiring a new generation to lead with purpose, unity, and creativity. Let's make welcome Honorable Zainab Buba Galadima. It's good to have you on the show, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you look beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, let's start with begin with your journey. We see that you've had quite an interesting journey spanning from, the UK to Nigeria, from lifestyle mortgages in London to, of course, the National Assembly. And tell us what inspired your transition from the corporate world in the UK to, of course, public service in Nigeria?
I think it's by chance.
Okay.
I usually come to Nigeria very often, sometimes every 2 weeks. When I was in school, I stayed there for 12 years. And then I finally came back to serve. So during my youth service, when I was towards the end, my father and I were just joking, and he was like, "Oh, there's a council elections. Maybe you should be part of it instead of saying you are an advocate or activist." I was like, "Oh, really?" It was like a dare for me. So I just went out and I got a form to run for a councilor. And that was how I transitioned. It wasn't like I was preparing, or it wasn't like I wanted to do it, but it was just out of the moment. And it was quite difficult in the beginning, but I learned fast. So, and I come from a family that is, that has been in politics for a very long time. And I do understand the, dynamics around it. So that was how I got myself into politics without my own, without loving it.
Oh,
yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but right now, if you are going to, because you said without loving it, how has it been so far? Where are you now in politics? What point are you?
I'm at the point where I watch and see.
Okay.
I do make my comments often. I'm not too active. When they say you're very active, it's probably you're running for office. I'm not running for any office, but I'm in the background. So I make my own, I give my own advices, and maybe I participate just, in some activities, political activities, but not too, it's quite interesting and challenging at the same time, because sometimes when you're in the mix of people where your principles or values do not align, it's really difficult for you to actually be comfortable and, thrive the way you want to. And Nigeria, how Nigeria is and how things go. So it's sometimes you really don't get your way. You just have to go with the flow sometimes. And people like me that do not like to compromise or, in some ways like to bend it a little to, to suit what they want or how they want it to be. It's a bit challenging for us. So we have to, swim the waters.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. You mentioned being a councillor. Tell us, of course, we know you served as a councillor and the minority leader in the Wuse Ward, right?
Yes.
Of course, that was when you were fully in politics. Tell us, how has that, service influenced your your mindset or your approach rather to governance and leadership?
Before I joined politics, I keep hearing be the change, and I really wanted to be the change that, I want to see. So I decided to participate because sometimes when you're in the background, when you're not in the, middle of things, it's really hard for you to be able to make that impact. So I thought by running, I would change so many things. But a lot of us, there's so many obstacles or there's so many factors that will determine your participation. Especially, like I said earlier, if your principles do not align, if your vision do not align. So when I joined politics and when I won, I saw a completely different thing, because there were 12 councillors and I was the only opposition. So automatically, I have limits. Unless I try to convince my colleagues to see, what I'm seeing, or, to key into my vision. So, and if it's going to affect their interest, it's difficult. So it was a bit of a struggle for me. Not a bit, it was a lot of a struggle for me, because there are some decisions being made within the council that I wasn't even consulted. I usually just, hear, okay, a budget has been prepared, passed, and this is the outcome, and there's nothing really you can do. And they do not want to go against the chairman or the ones above the chairman. So it is all about their interest. So there's very little one can do. Within my capacity, I was able to drive a few activities or a few projects. I started by empowering young people and women within the ward. I gave them capital, and, that too I had to learn, because it seems like Nigerians, some Nigerians, when you give them that opportunity, they don't really utilize it very well. Maybe they use the money to do something else. So instead, I decided to give them the money. But once you say, okay, I dash you the money, it's a bit of a challenge. They would never, use it properly. But if you borrow them and monitor them and train them on how to use that money, you train them on marketing, financials, and other things, I think it is better. So I learned, another concept to that. So that these are the challenges you don't really, and people actually do not understand the roles of offices, the roles of chairman, councillors, House of Assembly, they do not. All they think about is, because the system is so rotten, things are not working. They do think that you are there to just take care of their personal needs, but you're there maybe to pass bills to take care of their welfare as citizens. They do not understand that it's all about money. It's all about what can we get from you. So it's a bit of a challenge for people that is used to the system outside Nigeria working, and how I can just walk up to my MP and tell them, I have immigration issues, and they will write a letter and they will do the proper thing. But here, it doesn't work that way. And I entered politics because I wanted to serve. So for me, because it was about service, it wasn't about what I had to get. That was why I ran for the lowest office. If maybe by my qualifications or by my privilege or by my whatever, I wouldn't have run for councillor. But for me, I believe that you should make changes wherever you feel you could. Yeah,
that's quite interesting, Honorable Zainab. Let's talk about your work with the Vice President as this technical assistant on domestic and sexual violence. How was that experience like?
Another challenge as well.
Okay.
Because it was new. We didn't have funding. Okay. So there was very little we could do. But we worked with state governments, and we set up SAC centers, meaning sexual assault response centers, where people can go that were abused to get help.
Yeah.
Maybe counseling, report the case. And we were in collaboration with the police, Ministry of Justice, and Ministry of Health. So first of all, you have to go and make a police report and then go to the hospital to be checked. And once they confirm that, yes, there's a case of abuse, usually in terms of sexual abuse or maybe beatings or whatever, then you can go and report the case from the police, and then they take it to court. So during our tenure, we made impact in the sense that we set up about 8 to 9 SAC centers. Lagos, the Mirabel Center was in existence, so they already had it. But we had very little reporting. A lot of people weren't reporting their cases, so there was a bit of change. The figures changed. Now, before, maybe 1 in 100 or 1,000 women reported cases because they didn't have anything to do. So they were stuck in the relationship. Or maybe even men were abused, are being abused actually, and then children. So there was this reorientation of mindset where, you can still start again. and things like that. So people were coming out and saying, oh, okay, I'm being abused and stuff like that. So people usually got help, through the states and stuff like that. So there was a bit of impact, but it wasn't too much because we had limited funding and we had limited power. It wasn't an office whereby there was everything. So we had to depend on international donors and state governments. So that was how we did it. But at least it has come to stay. A lot of states now are adopting. So Abuja now has adopted the VAP Act. Okay. And I think a few other states, I can't remember, but I know Lagos too. So they're getting...
Interesting.
Yes.
Aside working as a technical assistant and, of course, the councilor and minority leader for Wuse Ward, you've served on several boards and, committees. I would like you to share with us what insight you've gained on governance and inclusion, especially as a woman in leadership.
Well, there are so many people that have so much to offer out there. And me being in boards, I've realized that... really, you have to be in the system. And it was a great experience for me. I learned a lot. I was on tables where decisions were made, especially I was in a board of Federal Medical Centre, Zamfara, Gusau. So by our own board, we actually contributed from our own earnings to help set up the MRI scan center in Gusau. And it's a thing of pride for me, really. And we had an MD who was very collaborative, and he really liked his job, and he really meant well. So, you rarely find those kind of things. Some of them, they will just, shut you out and collaborate with the director of finance, and they will just be siphoning projects and stuff like that. But we were fully involved. We made sure from the beginning till end. And I think it has changed my perspective on how operations actually go on as well. So it was a learning curve for me. Zamfara, we were very much involved, even with the insecurity, how people could not go to Zamfara. We met in Sokoto and made sure, there were visuals on how things were going. There was accountability and transparency. So I think if you have the right people in the right places, a lot of things can be achieved, and we will go places.
Exactly. Yeah. This has been such an interesting conversation. And of course, we're going to get back to it. We'll be going on a short break now. When we return, EmpowHer continues. Stay with us.
Culture connects us beyond borders. It's a bridge between traditions, creativity, and the future.
Culture is alive, shaping identities and communities every day.
Art tells stories of resilience and vision.
Artists blend tradition with innovation.
Cultural preservation creates sustainability and empowerment.
Culture evolves and adapts.
Music and dance unites communities through movement.
And right here, in the heart of our cities, artists and creators are keeping these cultures alive.
On Culture Cove, let's explore,
celebrate, and preserve the arts and culture that define us.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is EmpowHer. And of course, we have Honorable Zainab with us still in the house. Now, Honorable Zainab, I would like you to tell us about the Nigeria We Are project. What's it about?
Okay, I was nominated for a program by the United States Department of State. It's called International Visitors Leadership Program. So I went on an exchange program to America. So a couple of people from different parts of the world, they were there. I think about 35 of us. So we went there. We saw how they did things. Mine was on state and local government. So we saw how they ran their elections, how they legislated, how they, how governance in general was going on, and also the humanitarian part. It was a great experience for me. I met people from across the world, and it was beautiful. So I wanted to replicate that in Nigeria. You know what? I went to Anambra once. I stayed for 5 days, and I met this boy. He was a cleaner, but I realized that he spoke good English. So I asked him, I said, did you go to school? He was like, yeah, he's a degree holder. I was like, really? And you're cleaning? How much is your salary? He was like 27,000. This was like 5-6 years ago during one election like this, governorship election. And so I got his number. He paints, he draws yeah. So we communicated, and one day I was in Abuja and he sent me a message. He was like, can you get me out of here? I was like, what's going on? That the governorship candidate has brought Fulani people to kill them. I was like, really? And I realized that he's never been out of that place. So even though there are Hausa people there, they're northerners, and you speak Hausa, they sell suya and stuff like that. Yeah. But they went, and I have grown up with Igbo people in Maiduguri. Okay. They were doctors. I have friends. We grew up together. They speak Hausa, they speak Kanuri and stuff like that. And these are the people that are able to come out and, get exposed to, outside their culture. So I asked him, I said, why would that person bring Fulani people to kill you people? I was like, that's not possible. And I told him, I said, we're not where you people think we are, and the average. And they thought maybe that's all we do. We don't really go to school. We sell suya and stuff. I've met people that have met me and oh, you have 6-7 degrees? How? I thought everybody sold suya. I'm like, so the exposure is not there. Yeah. And then when you meet northerners from here, there are people that are not exposed. They just think they're just different kind of people. So I wanted to start, engaging people, bring maybe 2 or 3 people, maybe from Anambra, and then take them to Kanu, and then do you understand? Yes. So that was how we were able to pilot 1 or 2. It was great, but still people are still going across the country to experience people's culture, to experience how they live, how they do business. And we're actually hospitable people. All over Nigeria, you would be shocked that I have very great friends from, Imo and Anambra and stuff, and they don't see me as somebody from the north. They don't treat me. If you see people with that kind of mindset, they're not really exposed to that. So I wanted to change that narrative. So this is part of the project that we're trying to do, even though we've been held back because of funding, but we've done 1 or 2, and it's been great. And I think the other guy, he really wanted to stay in the north, so he stayed, and he's doing very well. He's selling spare parts and stuff.
Interesting. Yes. That's quite an interesting initiative.
Yes, very. So that's the whole idea. And at the end of the day, we wanted to organize a big carnival where people will showcase their culture, their food, interact, in just a small way, so that people will understand that some people combine culture with religion, which they're 2 different things. But we've made culture be our way of life and forget our religion. Like Islam forbids so many things that are cultural, that are culturally acceptable, but by religion, you're not supposed to do that, So people mix that, they'll say, oh, okay, maybe you're allowed to beat your wife, or things like that. So these are narratives that we really want to change. There's really good in everybody. Definitely. So I want everybody to see that and, experience that.
Wow. Yeah. Such beautiful initiative, I would say. Honorable Zainab, you've founded several companies, from AfriGlam Limited to Bringing the Table Limited and the upcoming She Queen fashion line. I'm so interested in that one, by the way. Tell me, how have you been able to balance entrepreneurship with your political and humanitarian commitment?
Well, it's about priorities. It's not easy. Nobody, plus motherhood. And I also have a special needs child who has sickle cell, and then politics. So I try to apportion my time. Yeah. I don't stress myself. I don't like stress, so I don't stress myself. I just do one at a time. I don't like to overwhelm myself, even though sometimes maybe there are programs that, clash. Yeah. So I have to, make sure that I am there. I show up, even if not for the full, course of the program, but I show up just to lend my support or any other responsibility that has been, put on me. So that, I think once you sit down and prioritize, you will be able to just manage it. It's not easy. Sometimes, obviously, you have to make compromises. Sometimes you have to be tired. Sometimes you get headaches. Sometimes you have clash, but you really have to sit down and align.
You see why they call women superwoman?
Yes,
superwomen, rather.
Yeah,
it's just amazing, really. Tell me, I already said she fashion, she queen fashion, right? As kind of one of my favorite. Tell us the idea behind the she queen fashion.
Sometimes I just sit down and come up with names. Okay. So the she queen were making shoes and bags. I've made my designs. We're yet to launch them. And it's also a women platform where we sit down and unwind. As well as business, we also sit down and network with like minds. Women in business, women in the humanitarian side, women in politics. So it's also, not just a fashion line, but also a forum where women meet and talk about their dreams and maybe collaborate with each other. So they're still, coming up one after the other. I'm not the kind of person that likes to do loud things or likes to do big programs. No, I just wait. I'm also working on a mentorship series. Yes, for young people. I think there's a bit of a gap between us and the older generation, especially when it comes to leadership, when it comes to entrepreneurship. A lot of us go into that space and fail because we do not have proper guidance, by people that have been there, that have fallen and risen. Do you understand? So this mentorship program is meant to last for 2 weeks, and also we'll get people, the mentors to sign up as well, sign up mentees and stuff. And I think it's going to be one of my biggest projects.
Wow, we patiently await the launch.
Yes, thank you.
All right, let's talk about, we can't talk about you without talking about the fact that you've received quite a number of awards. Share with us, what does those recognition mean to you personally?
It's a great honor. First of all, I've already let people know I don't pay for awards. In Nigeria, they will nominate you for something and then they'll come back and say, oh, okay, you have to give money for organization. No, I don't do that. If you see me, if you feel I'm worthy to receive your award, I will take it. But if I have to pay, I don't, because I don't believe recognition, or I don't believe that what I do, that if I pay for you giving me an award, then it is bought, not earned. So I don't do that. I always tell people that no matter what you're doing, people are watching, and some people are inspired. So, and some people are genuinely, they genuinely enjoy the fact that they encourage and they acknowledge your efforts within the society. So that is a great honor. And I think once you get recognized in that way, you're given the,
building momentum.
To do more.
Yeah.
Which is good for the society. If you touch 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 lives, they will also touch lives, because some of them would not forget that, oh, this person touched my life. I should, look down and also touch other people. And I think it's a great thing. If you see people doing great things, encourage them, and make them feel like they're doing good and they will do more. And before you know it, we achieve greater things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. This has been such an interesting conversation again. Talking about inspiration, we know that a lot of persons, that young persons, and of course, a lot of people that are watching this would definitely be inspired by your journey. Now, I'd like you to look into your camera and just do two things. Now, you're going to speak to young women or young ladies out there that are planning on venturing into being an entrepreneur. Just drop a word or two for them. And the second category will be women that wants to go into politics, because we know how Nigeria is when it comes to women, not just Nigeria, Africa in a whole. Now, I'd like you to also look into your camera and speak to women that are interested in politics, but looking for the momentum to be built in them. Just give them a word or two.
Okay, so now the politics first.
Okay, we can go with that first.
Okay. Dear woman, from me to you, if you are interested in getting into politics, you have to be relentless, courageous, and strong-willed. And you should also have your principles and values on point, so that you won't forget yourself when you find yourself in the seats of power.
Thank you very much. And now to young ladies wanting to venture into being an entrepreneur.
Okay. Dear young ladies and women, from me to you, if you want to venture into entrepreneurship, yes, you rise, you fall, you rise, you fall, but just keep going. And also open up your heart to learning, open up your heart to adding value to yourself, because at some point it will matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Zainab. Okay, to wrap everything up, I'll be reading a report by the United Nations, and I'll just want to get your remark on it. In 2025, an estimated 9.2% of women and girls live in extreme poverty, compared to 8.6% of men and boys. Now, this is according to the Gender Snapshot report. I just want to get your comment on this report.
Well, so because it's UN, so I'm guessing it's from a great source.
Yeah.
And my own opinion about this is, with us and people like us, we can help change the mindset and change the narrative by encouraging people, empowering people. There's so many people doing great things. And I think over the years, women and girls, young girls and young boys have changed. People are now getting to stand up and do, and make something out of their life.
Yeah.
So we should encourage them. And before we know it, probably would be zero.
Yeah,
so,
hopefully. Yes. Thank you so much, Honorable Zainab. You're such a remarkable woman. And of course, you're an inspiration to many young ladies out there. It was good having you on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's where we draw the line on Empower. I remain your host, Sharon Ajay. Until next time, see you again.